Hello again. So, the video below I posted yesterday, another Alex Jones Facebook mentions, talking, and the headline was, blacks weren't allowed to vote in 4 states, or something to that nature. Basically, they canceled 4 elections in 4 states, Colorado and some others. I'm not sure exactly where. New Hampshire, I think. I mean, basically, Wyoming. The black vote people that voted for Alex Jones is making a point that people who voted for Bernie Sanders or for Trump in Colorado, their votes didn't count because, well, they rigged the election. Well, I don't think they rigged it. They were probably. The thing is the elections are bunk. They've been bunk for since 1960. They're bunk. Okay, get over it. Actually, we can't. We don't live in a representative republic anymore. We don't. We haven't lived in a representative republic since they instituted the Federal Reserve and the IRS. We don't live in a representative republic. I mean, I said this before. In the second half of the 19th century was the last time America was what the founding fathers envisioned it to be. That was it. We haven't lived in a representative republic. I mean, I remember being in Florida during the hanging Chad incident. The media played it up to be like this, tens of thousands of people were disenfranchised. But there were, I was in Tallahassee when it happened. And the media, made it look like there were tens of thousands, but there was more media members there than there were protesters. It was a joke. That's when I knew the whole thing was a sham. That's when I knew it. I knew from the get-go the whole thing was a sham. And so, every politician we've ever had is basically a puppet. That's all they are. Basically, politics is a form of entertainment. The problem is these politicians, they put in these laws that control the population. I don't mean control population growth, but the actual people. And, the point is like, are you really going to get 5 million Trump supporters to Cleveland during the convention? When they basically take his delegates away? No. It's all a sham. And I might vote for Trump knowing that it's a sham because but I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I kind of think he's in on it too. Call me naive, but I kind of, maybe I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum from most people when it comes to this. I think he's in on it. He's a Hillary supporter. He was a Hillary. He gave money to Hillary Clinton in 2012. It's only 4 years ago. I mean, he's given money to the Clintons. I mean, he's quoted as being a Democrat. So maybe he's running as a Republican. Maybe I was wrong about 2012. Maybe it was 2008. I don't. He gave Hillary money. Maybe it was just for her Senate campaign. I don't remember. But he has given money to her. And I'm just flabbergasted that there's people in the media, whether it's Alex Jones. Alex Jones, he knows a lot about how the elections go. He knows a lot about how elections go. Look, I know more than the average person too, because as someone who worked in municipal government and state government, you learn about how the whole bureaucracy is put together. I mean, you see different sides of it. When you work inside the government even as an employee, you realize the one thing is the politicians aren't there for you as an employee. They're there for themselves. They're not there for the people. They get in the game for power. They're politicians are the worst type of people, in my opinion, because they're not. They say they want to do all this for the betterment of this and that and this and that, but at the end of the day, they're in it for themselves. Most of them. I mean, Trump, he might actually believe what he's saying, but I'm saying I'm still on the fence about him. I'm probably like Rush Limbaugh in that I'm on the fence about Trump, because I listen to Rush talk about Trump. He says a lot of things that I agree with. But I listen to Alex Jones, and he's all in for Trump, and I'm just like, a guy who's a commercial real estate mogul. We're talking an elite commercial. He builds skyscrapers. Okay, that's his business. How can you not have at least a pinky toe into the globalist view of things? Because that's what globalists want. The globalist vision is to build skyscrapers pretty much everywhere. That's what globalists want. They want to build buildings that are like cradle to grave, essentially, where people don't even, go outside at all. That they stay inside their whole lives. That's the globalist vision. They want to build basically where you do your education, you get married, you have families, and you die. All in the same building. And that's Trump's business. He builds these huge skyscrapers all over the country, all over the world. He's not a globalist? I find that hard to believe. I do. I just do. And I look at, other candidates. Ted Cruz, to me, Ted Cruz is just, the fourth term of the Bush regime. That's what Ted Cruz is. He's not, he may be a son of a preacher man. He may have married a missionary daughter. But most people who are genuinely, want to... He should have been a pastor if he was for real. But because he chose a life of politics. He could have just been a senator, and that would be fine. But no, he wants to be president. Anyone wants that kind of control, power. There's something not right upstairs. There's just something not right. And, he may be using his evangelical roots to get that power. And that's really, that sickens me. That's what W did. He talked about his faith openly. I think he got into the evangelical circle by doing that. And then once he got in, then he wreaked havoc on the world. I mean, that's why, I support someone like Rand Paul, who is a strict constitutionalist. And Rand Paul, he talked about being overshadowed by celebrity. Donald Trump. I mean, look, Rand Paul has come out and said, look, I'm going to, if Trump gets a nomination, I will endorse Trump. But I think, there's no question that Rand Paul knows, like he was attacking Trump from the very beginning. I mean, he was the first person ready to go after Trump. He knew something. That's the thing. That's why I think I've been skeptical about Trump, because I'm someone who likes Rand Paul. Rand Paul was someone who resonated. A lot of his views resonated. I mean, he's a true fiscal conservative who's also pro-life. That resonates with me. As someone who worked for the government, as someone who does think abortion is crazy, the number of abortions that are out there, how is it in China? I got a question for all you pro-choicers. In China, they have forced abortions. Are you really okay with that as someone who is pro-choice? How can you call yourself pro-choice and be okay with forced abortions in China? Explain that one to me. I never understood that. And then, meanwhile, here in the United States, we have 3,500 abortions a day. That's okay with you? As a pro-choicer? See, that's why I don't buy that pro-choice argument. Because it's not about choice. It's about, power, ultimately. Giving power to not the woman. Power is being taken away from her, for crying out loud. You got women who have 91% of women that have abortions go through post-abortion trauma. How is that good for us, for humanity? It can't be. No, 91% of women that have abortions, and you see the numbers, 3,500 a day. That means you got women all over the place suffering in silence for the most part. I mean, this, with all, the money spent on birth control, this is not a major problem? Am I the only one that sees it as a major problem? I can't be. I know I'm not. It's just, you don't, I've been told I don't understand reality. Really. In China, they have forced abortions. If a woman has more than one child, gets pregnant, has one child, and it has to be a boy, by the way. If they have a girl or they have a second child, get pregnant again, they're forced to have an abortion. That's what goes on in China. That's okay? You're okay with that, pro-choicers? Of course you are. You know why? Because you're not really for choice. You're for controlling the population. Because you think humans are evil. Let me tell you something. You're going to rue the day. Because at some point, the wrath of God is going to come down. And it's not going to be good for you. We could talk about politics in America. The corrupt elections. Look, 1960 in Chicago. I grew up in Elk Grove Village, which is in Cook County. Okay, So I think I know a thing or two about corrupt politics that go on. Because my grandmother, she was a Democrat. So she talked about it all the time. Okay? She lived till she was 80 years old. Lifelong Democrat. Yeah, you couldn't talk politics with her. No way. You couldn't disagree with her. She was right no matter what. You couldn't argue against her. There's no way. Because I tried. And believe me, she stood her ground no matter what. She still believed that the election was stolen from the Democrats, from Al Gore in 2000. It was like, Grandma, I was there. There were more media people in Tallahassee than there were protesters. That election was not stolen. Al Gore tried to, have multiple recounts, which was against the election rules. I mean, you're only allowed to recount one time. But anyways, I digress. In Chicago in 1960, the election was stolen by, there were dead people voting for Kennedy. So the election, what happened in Florida, quote unquote, what supposedly happened in Florida, happened in Chicago. So, stealing elections, rigging elections, however you want to call it, it goes on. It's happened on and on and on. Alex Jones calls people dumb as rocks for making these statements, but it's the truth. America is not a representative republic. It was designed to be, but it's not. And it's the proof is in the pudding when you see that look at the libertarians. How many they get 2 or 3% of the vote, and they get all cheery and happy when, hey, look at the polls, we're up to 11%, woohoo, 11%. They get all, yay, look at us. You're not even at 20%. Ross Perot got 19%. Do you not know that? Ross Perot in 92 got 19% of the vote. Don't get all crazy and happy when you get 11. It's stupid. At the end of the day, it's all stupid. It is rigged. It's biased. That's the word that Rand Paul uses. It's biased. The powers at be aren't going to let someone like Ron Paul or someone like Donald Trump. They're going to do everything they can. Donald Trump. I think the reason Donald Trump has done so well is because he's part of. He may not be part of the political establishment, but he's a celebrity. Okay? You got to understand this. The establishment is a wide, wide variety of individuals at the top level. Okay? It's not like, Donald Trump, he's not a politician, so he's not part of the establishment. No. He's an elitist in business and in Hollywood. He had a show on. Let me ask you a question. Where is SNL? Does anyone know where SNL? I've been in the SNL studio. Donald Trump was a host on SNL in the fall. Where is SNL filmed? Anybody know that? 30 Rockefeller Place. Rockefeller. Hello. And his show Apprentice was on what channel? NBC. Where is NBC based? In 30 Rockefeller Place. So, for people to just kind of gloss over this stuff, Alex Jones, it shocks me because the guy's like, every time I listen to him, he talks about the globalist this and the globalist that, but Oh, Trump, no, he's not part of the globalist agenda. I'm just like, well, the reason he's not part of the globalist agenda is because he's against the globalist cabal, the consolidating of power in Washington, and I don't buy it. I'm sorry, I don't buy it. I think he can be a puppet just as easy as any of the other Republican candidates or Democrat, Hillary, even and Bernie Sanders. He's like I said, he's part of the Democrat Party. How is he not part of the establishment at some level? And Rand Paul is too. Rand Paul, to a degree, is too, because he's a senator in the Republican Party. Ron Paul was never part of it because he never got any higher than being a congressman. He never wanted to be. Well, he did run for president, but he never got higher than being a congressman. So, I mean, if you're a senator, though, I mean, it's hard for you not to be part of the establishment. At some level, you had to accept some form of whatever they do. Whatever they do. And, Hillary, she's the queen of the establishment as far as I'm concerned. She is the queen. Donald Trump, he's probably... The reason he's probably viewed within the establishment community, he would be the joker, the court jester. That's what he's viewed as, probably. But he's still there. He's in the court. I think. I mean, that's what I think. Like I said, elections, we don't live in a representative republic. We're supposed to. But I mean, I can call my senator, Mark Kirk, and tell him X, Y, and Z. Will he actually do anything? I doubt it. I can call my congressman. I'll be honest, I don't even know who my congressman is because it was, what's his name? I actually saw him at my office complex walking around. Well, it was Bob Dole with a D, and then he got beat by the Democrat. That's when I lost interest. Well, because I mean, quite frankly, I don't feel like I don't feel like I've ever been represented because I'm a Christian who's pro-life. I mean, in this state, it's like you might as well be a Martian. I mean, if you're pro-life and you're a Christian, you're basically a Martian. That's how they view you, here. And so, I mean, I'm no different than most people. I like to watch sports on TV. I'm a Cubs fan. And, I'm going to talk sports on this, too, by the way. I mean, Cubs are off to a good start, 6-1. Great game yesterday. Aston Russell comes through a big 3-run homer. I'll talk some sports. I'll talk about my alma mater at times. Football season is... See, we're in April. It's a little more than 4 months away. So, I mean, got a lot of baseball to talk about. Talk a little hockey because Blackhawks are in the playoffs. Bulls, I'm telling you, this team, very disappointing. I mean, they bring in Hoiberg because he's supposedly this offensive genius. And they have probably one of the worst offensive seasons I can remember. I mean, and Derrick Rose was healthy for the most part. I mean, he had a few games where he missed, where he had some aches and pains. I mean, whatever. I mean, as long as he played most of the season. So the problem is Noah. I think Noah, when he went down, the whole team, because he was the one big man who actually guarded people, tried to play defense. I mean, you look at Gasol. I mean, he doesn't play defense with her damn. And then you look, Mirotic. I mean, we were told like this. He was this 3-point arson. That he was going to be making all these 3-pointers. He sucks. I mean, he had like one good month last year in March, and that was it. I mean, and so I'm a Bulls fan. I've been a Bulls fan since the Quentin Daly, Orlando Woolridge days, before Jordan was drafted back in '84. So I go back a long time with the Bulls, and those championship years were awesome. I mean, Jordan, Pippen, Rodman in the second 3 championships, Jordan, Pippen, Horace Grant in the first 3. You had John Paxson was the shooting guard, for the first 3. Steve Kerr was the shooting guard for the second 3. I mean, you had some really good teams. I mean, and even the team, even when Jordan left, I mean, they made the playoffs both years, and they almost got to the conference finals in it was 94, 93, 94. And of course the Hugh Hollins call, that goes down in history. I mean, it's one of the worst calls in the NBA history, and if he doesn't get that, if that call's not made, then they get to the conference finals, and who knows? I forgot who it was. The Knicks. No, the Knicks made it to the finals. They lost to Houston, and I think it was at Orlando. Well, the Bulls lost to Orlando when Jordan came back in '95, the spring of '95, and they lost the first round. I think. I can't recall. Point is, they were a better team than people give them credit for without Jordan. Pippen was deserved to be in the top 50. I mean, people said, "Hey, he don't deserve to be there." Oh, yes, he did. He was best defensive wing player probably in the history of the game. And he could shoot the 3, and he could create his own shot. So it wasn't like he was... And he played in an era where it was tough to play offensive basketball. I mean, scores were a lot lower. And then the funny thing is they changed the rules, where hand checking became illegal. And it really didn't help offenses overall, I don't think, for whatever reason. But it helped individual players. That's probably why. Because players became more, they dribbled and penetrated more after the hand-checking rule came into play. But that just meant, team basketball kind of took went off the side. That's why I think they should go back, rechange, allow hand checking. Because I think you'd have better basketball overall. Because I think basketball was better overall before they changed that rule. That's just my opinion. And it looks like they sent me an order. And I'm doing this while I'm waiting for an order. Yep, they sent me an order. Let's see what I got. Let's see what it is. It's a $4.50 pickup at Tuscany. Oh, wow, it's a big order. Uh-oh. I only have 2 bags. Well, let's see. It's catering. That shouldn't be a problem. Except I am going to have to stop at the office. Because they need 20 assorted drinks. So I'm going to have to wrap this up right now. So, I talked about some of the serious stuff. And then talked some sports. So I got in what I want to get. But I'm going to have to make a run to the office to get these supplies. Unless I have 20 assorted drinks. But I don't know if I have 45 plates and utensils. So I got to go. And I'll post this later tonight. Goodbye.